Everybody knows the story about Dyer Lane. You have heard the story about going to Dyer Lane, haven't you? No? Well, did you hear about those teens, Sarah and Hank, that were out playing on Dyer Lane, died in that car accident? Ugh. Oh no. Maybe you need a little history lesson. The story says back in the day where them Klansmen used to gather and lynch and burn the bodies of black men and women. Back in the day. To strike fear in the hearts of folks. What they don't tell you about is Marjorie Good and the curse they put on everybody in town. Supposedly they had a law around here after the Civil War and all the slaves got freed that says that you can't give a black kid proper schooling. But that didn't stop Marjorie Good. She came to town one day on a dark horse in a trunk filled with books. The dust seemed to hover around her when she entered our sleepy town. Never did we see a black woman that elegant before, so poised, so unafraid of the dangers these white people held. Started up that school in the back of Reverend Robert's church. Every Monday through Wednesday, the kids would come and get their education. And Fridays, they say Marjorie would heal the sick through conjuring ways in the back of that old church house. The Klan did not take kindly to her dark magic ways. Thought of her as a witch. Every Saturday night, the damn Klan would burn a cross in front of the church doors. It didn't bother Marjorie none. Morning would come and she'd douse the fire out before church would open for Sunday service and act like nothing would happen. For months, this would happen. Now, the story goes that one Saturday, the Klan had got bold, kicked in that church door, and walked her up to Dyer Lane. They placed a cross on top of the hill and tied her to it. Said if she promised to leave town, they'd let her go. She turned them down. Said if she swore never to teach and do her magic, they'd let her live. She turned them down. Said if she begged them not to harm her, she could live long enough to see the morning come. She laughed. She laughed hard. And the wind blew, the dust swirled around her angrily. And she called out to them, all 13 of them, and made them a promise they all regret.
Everyone from your bloodlines will know horrors until the last of you is wiped out. Every last one of you is gonna learn never to fuck with a black woman.
She laughed when they poured gas upon her. She laughed when they struck the match. She laughed as the fires raged, as the dust, the ash, filled and choked each and every one of those men's lungs as they ran away. Turned them as black as their souls. She laughed until the sun came up and there was nothing left of her. After that moment, things were quiet around town for quite a while. Parents wouldn't allow their kids to get schooling no more. No use. Black folks properly educated to become school teachers around the county were afraid to make the trip into that town. And eventually, years ago by, the 13 Klansmen all passed, all died in horrible ways. Their fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, and eventually their children too. All died. All died terrible deaths you wouldn't dare to mention or describe. Just as she said they would. Eventually, all that talk of the curse disappeared. The name of Marjorie Good became lost and forgotten. But the horrors of those men remained. Turned to nothing but ghost stories to frighten their friends. Years later, generations even, kids in my town would drive up the road of Gonna Die Lane with their headlights off and see what would happen. Silly games to children to play to frighten one another. They won't tell you the story of the little Sarah Ridge. Pretty Sarah Ridge and her boyfriend Hank. Blonde hair, gray-eyed Sarah Ridge. Last descendant of those Klansmen. A great-granddaughter, I believe. Father died in a thrashing accident. Mother fell down a flight of steps. Though the papers won't mention that. One night, they were driving down the way as high school kids do, flirting and joking. Driving down the winding road. Frankie Valentino, or somebody of the times, was singing through the radio. Hank mentioned he wanted to take her someplace special. They drove down the road, drove to Dyer Lane, drove down Dyer Lane. Hank turned off the headlights. Just harmless jokes. The air is so hot. So, Hank rolls the windows down. Lets the wind catch their hair. Dyer Lane. The sky, dark blue above. All dark. No stars. Dyer Lane. Going 65 on a 35. Dyer Lane. Those tight and treacherous turns. Dyer Lane. She says, slow down. He laughs and accelerates. Hand out the window, catching the wind. Dyer Lane. Turns up the hill. Dyer Lane. Faster they go. Hank laughs. She screams. That scream you make on a roller coaster. That mix of fear and excitement. Up and up they go. And then something flashes before Hank's very eyes. Turns on the headlights. There's someone in the road. He jerks the wheel, hits the brakes, swerves.
Dyer lane. In a Dyer lane. You're gonna die, Lane. You'll all be dead, Lane.
In the morning, they say Old Man Rhodes found the wreckage. Hank's body was crushed in the front seat. Said the front of the car looked like an accordion. Half that boy's body found a home in the engine block. Most of the car was wrapped around a tree, burning. He found Sarah Ridge on top of the hill. Sarah Ridge wasn't pretty no more. Half of her hair and skin looked like it had melted off like hot wax from a candle. One of her arms was missing. Say it was found under the car. That smell of burnt rubber and flesh stank up his nose and made him throw up right there on the spot. Horrors on horrors. Explains why he drinks the way he does. The most peculiar thing was that he said that when he found her, she was staring out as the sun was rising up. And she whispered before she died, the woman was laughing. I can promise you that story was true. I can tell you this because better be careful driving down Dyer Lane.